Hello, my friend. It's good to see you. Now, quickly, I want to jump in and see this background right now. Look at that. Look at where we are. Right now, we are on the beachfront in Melbourne, and I'm here with a special guest who I really want you to see, who I know you're wanting to see. He's come over, literally just landed from Japan, from Kochi in Japan this morning. This person is extremely tired, but he's your friend, he's a genius, and he is here. Everybody say hello to Marcus!
Hi guys.
Yay!
Well?
And everyone's just in here, Marcus. Oh, it is. Okay. Hello, my friend.
Hi, good to see you.
Now, everyone, I'm a bit weird. I'm going to just do a bit of a squat, but we'll pretend that that's
exercise.
fine. Thank you, exactly. I need to work on the glutes.
Yeah.
Guys, I wanted to chat with Marcus because Marcus has just come over from Japan. Can you tell us a little bit, Marcus, about what you're doing in Australia? But it's been a while, right?
In Australia.
Since you've been in Melbourne.
Oh, Melbourne, yeah. I've been here for 10 hours.
10 hours and haven't been here for 2 years? You haven't been here?
Oh, here for quite a long time.
Yeah. And so where are you originally from?
In Tasmania.
Tasmania.
In Hobart.
In Hobart. So any of our friends over in, I think Sarah, you're from Tassie. We've got a few of us from Tassie. So yeah, so how long have you been in Japan? Can you tell us a bit about...
I've been in Japan for 33 or 34 years.
Okay.
Yeah, quite a long time.
And what was it that took you over to Japan?
Well, I was leaving Hobart and I wanted to get as a teacher overseas.
Yeah.
First I was going to Indonesia, and that was I went there for 6 months, then came back, and then I was trying to find a place as international schools.
Okay.
And then I got a position to go into Japan, and I went for that. And
What year was that?
Oh,
Or
that's a good
roughly?
question.
Are we talking in the 90s?
Yeah,
and
the 80s, 84.
Oh, okay. 80. I was born in 84. Cool.
Yeah.
You were off to Japan.
Wow,
I
so
was
you're
just
so
coming in.
young.
Pretty
I
much.
must be old now.
Oh, shit. So, late 80s, early 90s, you moved to Japan.
Right.
And we're now, obviously... Well, how many years is that? You've been living in Japan. How many years?
I think 33, 34 years, I don't know exactly.
Okay, so a while.
Most of my
Oh, that would
life-
make sense. I'm 34. I just said
Yeah,
34.
yeah.
So if you went there in 1984.
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's jump into, so you've been a teacher for a long time, and then leading up to your stroke, how did that happen? Like, what's the window there?
I didn't prepare for my stroke. It just happened.
Okay, yeah. So how many years since you had your stroke?
I've had my stroke was 4 years ago. 4 years and 4 years and so many months.
Okay.
And
do you know, so what caused your stroke?
well,
Do you mind sharing?
basically, I had a heart attack,
Yep.
and it wasn't picked up. It's strange, but it was about
Yeah.
a week later.
Yes.
And then I went to the doctor, and they suddenly realised, oh, I think you've had a heart attack. And then they took me, I had to go to the hospital, and I had an operation, and during that operation for my heart,
Yeah.
I had a stroke.
So as a result
So,
of a
the
surgery
stroke,
that
Yes.
things happened,
Yes.
complications due to a surgery?
Yes, and so then that's why I probably didn't lose as much as my stroke, but I lost left me with aphasia, and it was pretty. I wouldn't say not 100. If you went from 100 to 0, it's not great.
Yeah.
But if I set up to around about 50, 60%, it was pretty bad.
Wow.
A loss.
So with that, in terms of in a sentence, when someone has no idea what aphasia is in your life, how do you explain it to someone? If you have to.
And I have aphasia, so you're trying to...
It's like a double whammy.
No, it's hard. It's a damage of the brain that doesn't allow you to communicate with people with language. And the disorder, and there's variety styles, and it's probably better to internet to check this out, but there are a
Yeah.
variety of styles of this. So in my case, I lost the ability to read, write. My speaking was pretty low, but I'm also bilingual, and so I lost both of the language. And in my family, my wife, when we had the conversation with my wife, was probably 80% in Japanese, and so
Oh, wow.
and so when I lost language, I lost my ability to talk to my family, and I couldn't talk to any doctors because I couldn't understand Japanese. So I was really sort of sitting there going, how do I survive with this?
So that's something that I think I've just realised I want to do this because stay with us. So can you tell us, like, you know, like there's global aphasia, there's
global,
receptive, and expressive.
Yeah.
And how would you define yourself in one of those categories?
I'm expressive, and I've been through both the part. Expressive is what I have, and there's another word, anomic.
Oh, yeah.
Anomic.
And what do you know what that
the
means?
loss of words. You just can't find the words.
So you just
That's a common one.
Okay.
But I have the expressive was when I first had it, where I could say all the words, but people couldn't understand what you're saying.
Oh, so it's like, in layman's terms, someone might say that sounds like gobbledygook.
Yes,
like it's just it's a mixture of stuff.
And then mine's in Japanese as well. So anyone had no idea, is he speaking English or is he saying that in
And
Japanese?
Because you've got a strong Australian accent, I reckon.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, so that, I guess that kind of keeps you in the slightly more English department for a Japanese speaker.
Right, yes.
So, I mean, moving through that, I mean, how would you describe, you know, reconnecting with your family? I feel like
how to do it.
Yeah, like, well, no, not how to do it, but how did you do it? You know, you're such an astute person now.
I just sit there and say, well, I have to survive. I want to communicate with my family again, and just realize, well, I just have to do rehab. I just have to practice. I've got to go back to learn alphabets, how to read, how to write. And I was originally an elementary teacher and a speech teacher, so
okay.
I knew what I have to do.
Yeah.
And I knew how to prepare myself, but
yeah.
I just don't know how to do it. How to prepare this? Oh no.
Yeah.
I can't talk by myself. I have to need someone to talk with, and I can't use the Japanese teachers. Yeah, I need someone. So I had to. In the end, I prepared my own rehab, and then I asked my partners, "Okay, this is what I want you to do to teach me."
See,
if you had
I think that's an amazing. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like that's an amazing skill in and of itself. That when there's so many of us in our community who, when we have things that happen to us, brain injury, it's sometimes leveraging off a previous skill and bringing it in really seems to change the behavior of your brain afterwards.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like those fundamental skills of, preparing your lessons, you prepared your own rehab.
Yeah.
And that's commendable.
Yeah. Well, when I've had this conversation before that to go back to work, I had to go back to work. I wasn't ready to go back, but I had to go back. And so that was 6 6 months after my stroke.
Yeah.
And then I had to try to survive in those classes and prepare, but that was nearly impossible to do. It was really, really hard to do that. And I had to change how to teach, even though I'm suffering from aphasia.
Yeah.
It's severely bad. But I had to prepare exactly what I'm going to do and write it all out.
Were there any
double levels? Like, I'm going to teach this,
yeah,
and now I know that the student's going to ask this question to me, so I have to prepare what the question could be, and to know exactly how to say it. So and then all those words, I have to write it up and then prepare it and say, okay, how do I say those words? There's multiple syllabic words, which are impossible for me. So I had to practice this, try to remember this.
So did you, I mean, if you were to be like throwing out any tips to a new person with aphasia, or even just of your own experience, it sounds like preparation has been
a lot of preparation,
very
but
important.
then again, if you have aphasia, you cannot control what is going to happen to your brain.
Right.
And that's the problem. I mean, I could prepare as much as I can. However, as soon as I get into the class in front of people, I don't know what my brain is going to allow me. I can't say I've prepared, I know exactly it is, because
it's not a script.
The brain just tells me, no, I'm not going to give you today.
Yeah, right.
It's like a conversation with my brain telling me, today you're not going to give these words, even though you know those words, but right now I'm not going to give it to you. And then so you have to think, okay, the key word is circumlocation. Do you know circumlocation?
I don't, but it's a cool word.
It's a key word because everybody who knows aphasia knows it. It's
really?
When you say, I want to say the table, the brain won't allow me to say table. So I would say, oh, that's what I'm standing over the side here. So we put things on top of it. That's called a table. To explain it with the word.
Okay, so it's like to really, what did you say? It was
circumlocation.
Circumlocation, okay.
So everybody has it. Because suddenly you says, oh, what's the word of that? And you try to explain it. But you understand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but when a person with aphasia, you're doing this all day because you cannot find those words.
It's not the natural way.
So you always have to think of, how do I explain that? And what makes the biggest problem is you get so incredibly tired. The brain just says, that's too much.
Done.
And which is why I still suffer from that all the time.
The fatigue?
Yeah, all the time.
So
I have to prepare and think, okay, I do I have 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And when I teach that, by the end of class, I've probably used that circumlocation so many times that I get tired. And so that just knocks me out. The cognitive fatigue hits me. And that's
how do you remedy it? Is it just rest?
I changed my timetable, so I have a class in the morning and a class in the afternoon.
Okay.
And then in between, I sleep.
So it's rest and it's rescheduling, or scheduling is a really important thing.
It's incredibly hard to prepare for this, but I have to prepare what I'm going to say, what I'm going to talk about, but I have to prepare that it's not going to be on there. The word's not going to be there. So I just have to be, just do that circumlocation. And it's a hard one for people to understand, but it's incredibly hard to do this.
I think it's...
But I'm getting much better. When I first started, it was very, very hard. But I'm gradually I'm getting better, but it's still... And I think it's probably to my life. It's going to continue to be like that.
Yeah.
From what I've read about people, they still have those problems.
Okay, so there's a sense of, I guess, knowing that there's ongoing recovery and really it's ongoing coping and strategies.
You just got to keep on doing it.
Strategies.
You got to keep on doing it the whole time. Yeah, and that's a challenge for people, is that to recognize that you are going to have this for the rest of your for the rest of your life, but it's going to get less and less and less if you keep on practicing and trying and pushing your brain, because it's hard. It could be easier to say to yourself, "Oh, I'm tired. I'm not going to have the conversation. I'm not going to try so much. Talk to people, or try." For me, it's classes. I have to teach.
Yeah, so that's a good.
That's pushing me.
Modus operandi, MO.
Yeah, I have to push myself, and that helps my brain, but it makes me tired.
Well, speaking of like pushing yourself and being tired because of that, I know from photos and many of us will have seen that you have also been, at many times in your life, a very physically active person.
Yeah, I've been very fit. Well, was being very physical. I've had a few problems. I've had that heart attack. I've had cardiac arrest.
Cardiac arrest,
I was
okay.
in the pool. I've had My brain's turned off right now.
That's all right. We're with it. Can you do the circum?
No, I can't. This
Oh,
one.
damn. Okay, right.
It's all right.
We're circumnavigating.
What's that word?
Epilepsy.
That's the word.
Epilepsy?
Yes, I have.
Oh,
that.
epilepsy. Okay.
That's from my stroke.
Oh, okay. We've got a lot of peeps in our community who
Yeah, I have it like that,
epilepsy.
and then I had to work that, so I'm on pills for that and to control that, and yeah.
And so, I mean, some photos that I saw, and the reason that we're actually here out the front of the beach is because I know that being active in whatever capacity is a really important thing for you.
Yeah, very much.
And it seems like you're living in Japan, and a lot of the photography that you've moved into that we've seen and we get to see on Genyus is very sort of nature, it's very visceral based sort of stuff.
That's the happy side of me. I've got a lot of dark photographs too.
Okay.
Which you may see a few of them
Okay, that's
tomorrow, and I've on a link of some of my photographs which were the dark period of my life, because I couldn't explain my feelings and what I couldn't going through, so I was using photography as my therapy. And
I love that you've just said that. I didn't realize that you'd done that, because I feel like using creativity and art as a therapy is something that can be really underrated, but it's so beneficial.
Oh, it was fantastic for me. I mean, if you see these photographs, you'll think they're pretty dark, and they are dark. And
that's all right.
This has helped me to say, when I'm talking to people, to say, this is what I feel. This is what that aphasia has changed me, and this is my feeling. And I want to show it to people, but I couldn't tell you because it's so difficult. I can't write it because I can't show it to you.
Yeah.
So photography for me was fantastic.
So for all of our peeps who have aphasia and might be closer to the beginning of their experience, I guess if there was one takeaway in a social sense, like what we've got, like connection, what would you say to someone with aphasia who might be feeling isolated, alone, and I guess trapped in that space?
Well,
what could they focus on?
You get rehab. You just have to practice on rehab, and whether it's you listening and writing, listening, comprehension of words. That's the first part. You have to push and push and push and do the rehab of that, and then try to get to the level where you can have a lot of conversations with a variety of people, not just the one-off people, but people who are prepared to take the time and talk to you. And that's very, very difficult with people with aphasia, because after a few months, a bit longer, suddenly people get tired trying to deal with you. So you start losing a few of friends. Yeah. And
I think a lot of us...
And the reality, as you are, you have to accept that was probably going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just going to be, it's just hard to do it because their lives keep on going, but your life is a bit slower.
Okay.
And so, and that ability of aphasia will slow you down. You can't do what you used to be, but you just have to be positive, say, okay, I'm just going to keep on going and just push.
And do you think it's helped you in any way, really? You said something before that was really interesting about really finding those people. I know I've experienced people dropping away, but for me it's really helped focus, like, what matters, who matters.
People understand what you're going through. That's really important. That's like Genyus. Yeah, I mean, when I found that, and then I realized, here are people who understand what I'm going through. And we're all a little bit different. For me, it's aphasia, the meaningful. That's not the right correct.
The most impactful.
Yeah, and so it's good to be a group of people who understand our problem.
Yeah, even with a wide variety, we've got this beautifully wide.
Important. I've used the Stroke Foundation. Enable Me, that was the first one that I used, where I was writing on that and taking photographs and talking about that. And that helped me really good, because that's when I got prepared and to write things and show to people. Because that was scary to
You
write
sort of
something.
start
It
to
took me a
energize
long
that,
time
yeah.
to do that. It was very, very hard. It took me a long while. Am I actually going to write this and give it to people to
Yeah.
check? And that was scary.
I think scary and incredibly courageous to really, you're really limiting a lot of, when you're saying, I'm just going to communicate through word.
Yeah.
In writing. So I think that one thing that we can probably finish up with is that through Enable Me, through your connection with the Stroke Foundation, Marcus is actually presenting or having a massive talk about his story and his journey through aphasia and through, I would say, life and communications.
Yes.
Following stroke. And I think tomorrow's going to be a wonderful occasion. Hopefully we'll be able to link you to it very soon. So yeah, thank you so much. Before you head back to Japan, what do I say to say thank you in Japan?
Don't ask me that right now.
Oh, really?
You just asked this straight now, and I'm going to forget.
Oh, is it arigato?
Yeah, that'll do.
Okay, arigato. I'm basically.
You have just said me that this is the perfect situation here. Like,
Yeah.
you ask a question, and then it's just gone off.
Oh, it switched
That's how
off.
quick, yeah. Just
For you.
because you just said it to me to start. If I was going to say it, I'd say, but then you said, give me that word, and then suddenly the brain says, I've got you.
Oh, so it's like a jam.
I'm playing a game with my brain. I was going to say the word, oh, okay, it's taken the word off me.
Wow, so completely triggered because I put it in
yes.
I put that pressure on.
Yes.
Which is a really natural thing for most people to do, is to
That's right.
seed
That's why
things.
aphasia is so painful to deal with. That you just have to accept it.
Yeah.
And just to to be the courage to be imperfect.
I love that.
I've taken that from somebody.
Well, Brene Brown says a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
But look, Marcus, thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you for being courageous and, perfectly imperfect as far as I'm concerned. Make sure you check out what Marcus presents at the Stroke Foundation tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to it. But everybody say goodbye to Marcus.
See ya.
Marcus, au revoir. Oh no, arigato. And we'll get one last little, hang on, I'm going to
It's
get,
a beautiful place.
look at this.
Fantastic.
Look at that. We don't need Japan. We just need Melbourne. No, we do.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
ya.
Arigato. Bye.